Alright, everybody, welcome back to the Arena Football Nation channel. I hope you're doing well. And in today's video, we have a recap of the Week 7 action in the National Arena League. This week really had it all for you, folks. It was a action-packed weekend. You had a full slate of 4 league games. No little exhibition matchups here. These are all league teams going at it. Essentially, it's rivalry week with a ton of action when it comes to the rivalries. You even had a blowout, some close games. So, a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of good storylines. So, let's jump right into it. Alright, first game on the docket, we had the Beaumont Renegades traveling to the Columbus Lions. And this is an American Division matchup, so pretty important for the divisional standings, of course. Beaumont looking really impressive in their first 2 games, and then you have the Lions. Obviously, one of the more solid teams in the league. So this should be a great matchup to see where both teams really are. And man, when I tell you, it was a very good game to watch. If you love indoor and arena football, this was one for you. It was a close dogfight all the way through. Really came down to the last minute. And like I said, back and forth game. Came down to the last play. But the Renegades ended up holding off a charging Lions offense to hand them their first loss at home in over 3 seasons. With this win, the Renegades take over first place in that American Division at 3-0 now. And that hands the Lions their second loss in a row. Pretty uncharacteristic of the Lions if you've been following that team for a while. So, what a great game. Huge win for the Renegades, of course. Lions looking to bounce back from that really quickly. But overall, solid matchup. Final score ended up being 44-37. And like I said, it came down to the last play of the game. Renegades stopped a pass from the Lions there in the end zone to seal the win. So, really exciting matchup, really good game. Big win for the Renegades. Keeps them in first place now, solely. And Lions obviously looking to bounce back from that really quickly. Reeling with that second loss in a row. Alright, next game on the docket, we had the Carolina Cobras traveling to the Wheeling Miners. And this is a little bit of a rivalry matchup, like I said before. You have the coach connection. It's geographically pretty close teams, so another great matchup to watch. This is going to be the rubber match this year between the Carolina Cobras and the Wheeling Miners because they're tied at 1-1 for this rivalry series. So a lot on the line here. Pretty exciting matchup to watch, of course. Miners looking to really get some solid home fan support and build that home crowd up. Get the W's, start racking them up, of course. And like I said, this is part 3. And the Cobras hit the road going to Wheeling as both teams are tied in the series 1-1. With the Cobras getting the first win in Greensboro, but lost their second match to the Miners in the Snake Pit. In Wheeling, the Miners offense controlled the game, having their highest scoring game of the season, really opening up and blowing out the Cobras here in this game. Really crazy to see. The Cobras defense kept the game close in that first half, but the game slowly just unraveled when it got into the second half, and the Miners really just took control. And like I said, the final score ended up being 46-18. Massive win for the Miners. A really dominant win in this one to take that rivalry series there. Cobras very uncharacteristically looking rough this game. It looks like they might have had some roster issues. Some players may not have been able to make it to this game. So very unfortunate for them. I don't know what's going on there with them in Carolina. But, of course, this is a tough loss. They're going to look to bounce back from this very quickly. And it's time to start ringing the alarms there in Carolina as this puts them at 2-4. Wheeling Miners bouncing back with their early start of the season, having a lot of losses. They're now at 2-3. So, things looking really good for the Miners. They're really getting that offense together and, chugging along. Looking really impressive. Carolina's starting to spiral a little bit. So, a lot of questions there in Cobra country, and hopefully we can see a turnaround really quickly there. All right. In our next matchup, you might have heard of this one. It is only the biggest and the most historical rivalry in all of indoor and arena football. and that is the I-29 rivalry, the Omaha Beef and the Sioux City Bandits. So, like I said before, throw the records out the window, throw all the stats out. Doesn't matter what each team is doing in the season. When it comes to a rivalry game, it's no holds barred, super intensive, high emotions, and that's what you get with these two teams right here whenever they take the field. So, highly anticipated, massive matchup, especially for the National Division. Seeing what team will really take control over there when it comes to the playoff implications. And this game did not disappoint at all. Really awesome game to watch. If you haven't yet, check it out. Like I said, the oldest rivalry in the sport, dating back to 2002. You had the Bandits going head-to-head with the Beef in Omaha, Nebraska. But it was a low-scoring affair as the Bandits led in the first quarter before the Beef mounted a comeback to keep the game tied at halftime. In the second half, both teams exchanged scores, but it was the fourth quarter that made the difference with the lone touchdown by running back Tyabus Taylor, sealing the deal for the Beef, advancing Omaha to 4-1 this season and dropping the Bandits down to 2-2. So, very exciting matchup. Came down to the wire there in the 2025 edition of the I-29 rivalry between the Beef and the Bandits. So, did not disappoint. Really exciting matchup. If you haven't yet, go back and check it out. These matchups are always fun to watch as a fan of the sport, and this one didn't disappoint. So, looking forward to that rematch later in the season. And that brings us down to our fourth and final game of the weekend as the Idaho Horsemen traveled to take on the Colorado Spartans. Big storyline in this game is the Colorado Spartans moving into their new arena, that Denver Coliseum, where they hosted their first game the previous week in the exhibition matchup against the Las Vegas Kings, where they won 69-18. So big win to christen that new arena, and they're looking to continue that as they face their geographical rival in my eyes. They got out there west with the Idaho Horsemen. Spartans hosted their second game, like I said, in the Denver Coliseum, and in typical Spartan fashion, it was an action-packed and over-the-walls matchup. Typically, the Horsemen Spartans games have been close, with a few games coming down to last-minute scores to decide the game. But on Saturday night, however, the Horsemen could not find the rhythm on the offense, and Colorado defense did not let up, shutting out the Idaho Horsemen 48-0. Really insane. Like I said before in the past, it is harder to not score a single point in arena football than it is to get shut out. And this is the first shutout in Colorado Spartans history. Despite the loss, the Horsemen are only one game behind the Bandits and have games left to move up in the standings. So absolutely insane. This game was just all Spartans from the get-go. Really uncharacteristic of Idaho, as they were starting to come within their own and improve in their previous games. But Colorado, 2-0 now in the Denver Coliseum. So really looking pretty solid for them, making that move over, having some solid home field advantage now. So Colorado and Idaho, they're doing really well at home, but not so hot on the road, it looks like. Big win for the Spartans, obviously, and obviously in the divisional standings as well. Player of this game has to be linebacker ESS Gandy with the Colorado Spartans. He had 4.5 tackles, 2 interceptions, 2 pass breakups, and 2 defensive touchdowns. And offensive player of the game for the Renegades had to be quarterback Carl Robinson III. He had 12 completions for 127 yards and 1 passing touchdown, along with 1 rushing touchdown. And player of the game for the Wheeling Miners has to be kicker Jonathan Cardoza Chicas. He had 4 point after attempts made in this game. Alright, and we'll take a quick look at the standings. Things are really starting to come together here, and the playoff picture is getting clearer as we go. Couple upsets and big time matchups, but there's still plenty of season left to really decide who's going to come out on top this season. And we'll take a preview look at next week's matchups. You have the Beaumont Renegades traveling to take on the Sioux City Bandits. This would be a rematch of that, I think it was week 1, or at least it was the first game for Beaumont. And the Bandits are going to look to have some revenge in this game, as they had that early season loss to the Renegades. Next up, you have the Idaho Horsemen hosting the Las Vegas Kings in an exhibition matchup. Idaho looking to bounce back from that massive loss to Colorado, and just continue to have that home field advantage as they take on the Las Vegas Kings. Then we have the Columbus Lions travel and take on the Colorado Spartans, making the long countrywide trip. Columbus looking to bounce back from that loss in their previous matchup, and Colorado Spartans looking to continue to stay hot and just keep on having that home field advantage, as they are 2-0 in the Colorado Coliseum. And that will do it, as it is only 3 games, all on Saturday, April 26th, for the NAL and Week 8. All right, everybody, I'll see you in the next one.